Part 1. The Silent Sentinel. Captain Alina Reyes stood at the viewport of Orbital Defense Station Aegis, her dark eyes scanning the vast emptiness of space as Earth rotated slowly beneath her. 15 years of service in the United Earth Defense Force had taught her to trust her instincts, and right now something felt wrong. The station's advanced sensor array had been picking up anomalous readings for the past 3 days. Faint signals from the outer reaches of the solar system that defied explanation. "Captain, you should see this," called Lieutenant Paddle from the monitoring station. His voice carried an edge of urgency that made Reyes turn immediately. She crossed the command center in measured strides, the magnetic boots of her uniform clicking against the metal floor. The holographic display showed a pattern of signals, pulsing in regular intervals from somewhere beyond Neptune. "It started about 20 minutes ago," Paddle explained. "The pattern changed. It's more deliberate now." Reyes studied the waveform, her brow furrowing. "Is it natural?" "No chance," Paddle replied, adjusting the display parameters. "The pattern has mathematical precision. It's artificial, and it's directed straight at us." Reyes straightened, feeling a cold weight settle in her stomach. Humanity had explored much of the solar system over the past century, establishing colonies on Mars, mining operations in the asteroid belt, and research stations as far as Titan. But despite all their advancements, they had never encountered proof of intelligent alien life. Until now, perhaps. "Contact Dr. Y at the Xenolinguistics Division," she ordered, "and alert Admiral Nakamura at UEDF headquarters. Authorization code RISE Alpha 79. Within hours, Dr. Xiang Wei arrived at the station, his thin frame practically vibrating with excitement. The foremost expert in theoretical alien languages and communication, Wei had spent his career preparing for this moment. "This is extraordinary, Captain," he said, barely looking up from the data streaming across his tablet. "The signal contains embedded mathematical sequences, prime numbers, the value of pi, fundamental physical constants, classic first contact protocols. So it's definitely a message?" Reyes asked, watching as Wei's fingers flew across the interface. "Without question. And there's more." Wei looked up, his eyes wide behind rimless glasses. "It's not just saying hello, it's a warning." Wei projected the partially decoded message onto the main screen. The translation was incomplete, but certain phrases stood out with alarming clarity. "Approach, imminent, prepare, and most concerning of all, invasion." How reliable is this translation? Admiral Nakamura asked from the holographic projection beside them. The weathered officer's face betrayed no emotion, but Reyes knew him well enough to see the tension in his shoulders. "The mathematical components are certain," Wei replied. "The linguistic elements are at approximately 68% confidence, but the intent seems clear." Nakamura was silent for a long moment. Then, with a heavy sigh, he said, "Captain Reyes, I'm authorizing Protocol Prometheus. Clearance level Omega." Reyes felt her heart skip. Protocol Prometheus was classified beyond her security clearance. She knew of its existence only as a rumor, a contingency plan for humanity's darkest hour. "Sir," she questioned, "you'll be briefed shortly. Stand by for the arrival of Admiral Chen." The transmission ended, leaving Reyes with more questions than answers. Dr. Wei looked equally puzzled, but before either could speak, another alert sounded from Patel's station. "Captain, multiple objects detected accelerating from Neptune's orbit toward inner solar system. Too fast for natural objects. Trajectory calculation puts them on course for Earth in approximately 17 days. Reyes moved quickly to the tactical display. "Show me." The holographic projection revealed a cluster of objects moving at impossible speeds, already passing Uranus. Whatever they weren't human vessels. Nothing in Earth's arsenal could achieve such velocity. "Alert all UEDF forces," Reyes ordered, "and begin evacuation procedures for the civilian personnel on this station." 12 hours later, a small, unmarked shuttle docked at Aegis Station. From it emerged a man Reyes had only seen in historical records. Admiral Marcus Chen, the legendary tactician who had retired 15 years ago after leading the successful defense against the Mars separatist movement. His hair was now fully silver, but his posture remained rigid, his gaze sharp as he assessed the command center. "Captain Reyes," he greeted her with a nod. "I see you've kept Aegis in good order." "Admiral," she responded, returning his salute. "We weren't expecting you." "Few were," he said simply. "Now, show me what we're facing." As Reyes briefed Chen on the signal and the approaching objects, the Admiral's expression grew increasingly grim. When she finished, he turned to Dr. Wei, who had been silently observing. "Doctor, I understand your translation suggests hostile intent." Wei nodded. "Yes, though there are nuances I haven't deciphered. Some elements suggest the message originated from a different source than the approaching vessels." Chen considered this, a warning about the invasion, rather than from the invaders themselves. "Possibly," Wei agreed. Chen turned to the viewport, staring out at the stars. "Captain Reyes, what I'm about to share is classified at the highest level. 70 years ago, when humanity first achieved reliable interplanetary travel, Earth's governments made a discovery that changed everything. He activated a secure data crystal, displaying images that made Reyes's blood run cold. The wreckage of what was unmistakably an alien vessel, discovered buried beneath the lunar surface. The technology was far beyond our understanding," Chen continued. "But it was clear that whoever built it had been involved in a conflict. The ship was a warship, damaged beyond repair. And stored in its memory banks was a star chart, marking Earth with a designation that our linguists eventually determined meant sanctuary or safe haven." Reyes stared at the images. This was kept secret for 70 years. "The panic it would have caused was deemed too great a risk," Chen replied. "Instead, Earth's nations united under a single banner, pooling resources to prepare for what might come. Project Prometheus was born, a fleet of advanced warships incorporating what little we could understand of the alien technology, hidden in the shadows of Saturn, crewed by AI systems, and maintained by a skeleton staff, waiting for the day they might be needed." He turned back to face them. "That day has come. I've been recalled to service to command this fleet. And you, Captain Reyes, are being promoted to Commodore effective immediately. You'll command the defensive line at Earth while I take the Prometheus fleet to meet this threat as far from our homeworld as possible." Reyes struggled to process the enormity of what she was hearing. "Sir, with respect, if these vessels are as advanced as you suggest, even a secret fleet may not be enough." Chen smiled grimly. "That's why we're not going alone. Dr. Wei, you'll be joining us. If this signal truly is a warning from a third party, we need to know everything it contains, and if there are allies out there, we need to find them." Within days, the truth of Chen's words was confirmed as the Prometheus fleet emerged from Saturn's shadows. 27 sleek, obsidian vessels, unlike any in Earth's known arsenal, their hulls incorporating technology never seen in public. They moved with an eerie silence, fusion drives emitting only a faint blue glow as they accelerated toward the outer system. Aboard the flagship Thermopylae, Admiral Chen stood on the bridge, surrounded by a crew hastily assembled from retired veterans and top UEDF officers. Captain Reyes, now Commodore, had remained at Earth to coordinate defenses, while Dr. Wei worked tirelessly in the ship's laboratory to decipher more of the mysterious signal. "Admiral," the tactical officer called out, "the alien vessels have altered course. They're converging near Jupiter's orbit." Chen nodded, unsurprised. Jupiter's gravity, was a natural waypoint for any force entering the inner system. All ships maintain formation. Prepare first contact protocols, but keep weapon systems at ready status. As the Prometheus fleet approached Jupiter, the gas giant's massive form dominated the viewports. In its shadow waited the unknown, vessels of gleaming copper and emerald that moved with grace belying their size. "Incoming transmission," announced the communications officer. "It's like nothing I've ever seen." The main screen flickered to life, revealing a being that sent a ripple of shock through the bridge crew. Vaguely humanoid but clearly alien, with iridescent scales covering an elongated skull and 4 eyes arranged in a diamond pattern. When it spoke, the translator struggled to convert the complex harmonics of its language. "Humans of Earth," the alien commander's words emerged haltingly from the system. "You have been identified as harboring technology belonging to the Ascended. Surrender this technology and your world will be spared. Resistance is inadvisable." Chen stood from his command chair, his voice steady as he addressed the first confirmed extraterrestrial intelligence humanity had ever encountered. "This is Admiral Marcus Chen of the United Earth Defense Force. We wish to establish peaceful relations, but we will defend our world. What technology do you believe we possess?" The alien's upper eyes narrowed. "Do not dissemble. The beacon has awakened. The guardians rise. The cycle must not be disrupted." Before Chen could respond, Dr. White burst onto the bridge, his face pale. "Admiral, I've completed the translation of the original signal. It's not just a warning. It's instructions. The signal was sent by a race calling themselves the Archivist Collective. They claim to have been monitoring Earth for centuries, and they say these aliens, the Xeraxians, are here because they detected the activation of dormant technology within our solar system." "What dormant technology?" Chen demanded. Wei looked at the Admiral, his expression a mixture of awe and terror. "Sir, according to the message, it's our fleet. The ships we found weren't just alien. They were sentient, and they've been waiting for us to be ready." As if triggered by Wei's words, throughout the Prometheus fleet, dormant systems suddenly activated, systems unknown even to the engineers who had studied the salvage technology for decades. And deep within the flagship Thermopylae, something ancient and powerful began to awaken. The reckoning dawned. The bridge of the Thermopylae trembled as systems activated without human input. Holographic displays shifted to unfamiliar configurations, and the ship's lighting pulsed with a subtle rhythm that seemed almost alive. Admiral Chen gripped his command chair as the deck beneath him vibrated with rising power. "Report," he barked, watching as his crew scrambled to understand what was happening to their own vessel. "Sir, all ships in the fleet are experiencing the same phenomenon," the operations officer responded, her voice trained as she worked her suddenly unfamiliar console. "Power readings are off the charts, but systems remain under our control. Mostly." Dr. Wei stared transfixed at the readouts on his tablet. "It's remarkable. The embedded systems are integrating with our technology, enhancing rather than replacing it. If the archivist message is correct, this is exactly what's supposed to happen." On the main view screen, the Xeraxian commander's 4 eyes widened in what Chen recognized as surprise, even across the gulf of species. "The Guardian vessels respond to your command." The alien's translated voice carried unmistakable shock. "Impossible. Your kind are barely spacefaring. You cannot be the inheritors." Chen straightened his uniform, sensing an advantage in the alien's reaction. "We don't know what inheritors means, but these ships are under Earth's protection. We have no quarrel with you, but we will defend ourselves if necessary." The Xeraxian commander's upper eyes narrowed while its lower pair blinked rapidly, a gesture Wei later identified as indicating deep calculation. Without another word, the transmission cut off. "They're powering weapons," announced the tactical officer, multiple energy signatures charging across their fleet. Chen didn't hesitate. "Defensive formation Delta. Prepare for engagement but hold fire until they shoot first. Dr. Wei, I need everything you have on these Guardian ships now." Wei worked feverishly at his station. According to the archivist message, these vessels were part of an ancient defensive network created by a species they call the progenitors. The technology was designed to adapt to the biology and psychology of whatever sentient species eventually discovered it. That's why we've been able to operate these ships at all. They'd been slowly reconfiguring themselves to human specifications for decades. Before Chen could respond, brilliant green beams lanced out from the Xeraxian vessels, striking the outer ships of the human formation. The impacts were devastating. Two smaller vessels instantly crippled, their hulls breached by the alien weapons. "Return fire," Chen ordered. "All ships, engage at will." The battle that followed was unlike anything in human military history. Even with their awakened systems, the Prometheus fleet was outmatched by the Xeraxian armada's superior numbers and experience. What had started as 27 human vessels quickly became 20, then 15, as the alien weapons found their marks. Yet they weren't defenseless. The Thermopylae shuddered as it unleashed weapons that defied human understanding. Graviton beams that warped space itself around Xeraxian ships, quantum phase torpedoes that seemed to exist in multiple realities at once. 3 enemy vessels fell in quick succession, but it wasn't enough to turn the tide. "We can't hold them, Admiral," the tactical officer reported grimly. "Their technology is still more advanced, and they know how to counter some of our weapons. They've fought Guardian ships before." Chen made a difficult decision. "All vessels, execute tactical retreat. Fall back to Mars orbit. We need time to understand these systems better." As the remnants of the Prometheus fleet disengage, accelerating away from Jupiter toward the inner system, Lieutenant Patil approached Dr. Wei at his workstation. The young officer had been studying the battle data with intense focus. "Doctor, I've noticed something," Patil said quietly. "The Xeraxian weapons are incredibly powerful, but they follow strict patterns, and their ships seem to falter when exposed to certain EM frequencies our communications array was accidentally emitting during the battle." Wei's eyes widened as he reviewed Patil's findings. "You're right. Their technology appears to have a blind spot, a vulnerability to specific radiation patterns that our ships naturally produce as a byproduct of our fusion drives." The two worked through the 18-hour retreat to Mars, analyzing battle footage and testing theories. When they finally approached Admiral Chen with their findings, the fleet had regrouped in Mars orbit, joined by a second wave of vessels from Earth's conventional forces. "It's not just a vulnerability," Wei explained, displaying complex waveform patterns on the bridge's main screen. "It's an incompatibility. The Xeraxian technology operates on quantum principles that are disrupted by the specific radiation signature our Guardian ships emit when operating at full capacity, a signature we've been dampening because we didn't understand its purpose." Chen studied the data. "You're saying we've been fighting with one arm tied behind our back?" "Exactly," Patil confirmed. "If we reconfigure our drive systems to amplify this emission rather than suppress it, we could create a field that severely hampers their targeting systems and weapons." A spark of hope ignited in Chen's eyes. "How quickly can we implement this?" "Hours, not days," Wei responded. "The Guardian systems seem eager to make the adjustment once we understood what to ask for." As the Xeraxian fleet approached Mars, humanity prepared its defense. The Guardian ships now formed the center of a new formation, with Earth's conventional forces arranged to maximize the effect of the radiation field they would generate. On Earth, Commodore Reyes coordinated the final line of defense, civilian evacuations to underground shelters already underway. Admiral Chen stood on the Thermopylae's bridge, watching as the Xeraxian armada emerged from faster-than-light travel near Phobos. Their formation was aggressive, clearly intending to overwhelm the human defenders quickly and proceed to Earth. "Open a channel," Chen ordered. The Xeraxian commander appeared on screen, its posture radiating confidence. "Your resistance is noted for its courage, humans, but it ends now. Stand down, surrender the Guardian vessels, and your species will be permitted to exist under Xeraxian oversight." Chen allowed himself a small smile. "We have a counter-proposal. Leave our system now, and we'll consider this unfortunate first contact a misunderstanding rather than an act of war." The alien commander made a gesture that needed no translation dismissal. "Your destruction begins now." The transmission ended, and the Xeraxian fleet surged forward, weapons charging. Chen nodded to Wei, who activated the newly configured drive systems. Throughout the human fleet, engines flared with unusual brilliance, emitting not just thrust, but a precisely calibrated energy field that spread outward toward the approaching enemy. At first, nothing seemed to happen. Then, as the field reached the Xeraxian front line, their formation began to falter. Green weapon beams fired but went wide, missing their targets by kilometers. Ships drifted out of formation, their precision movements degrading into erratic vectors. "It's working," Wei exclaimed, staring at the sensor readings. "Their quantum communication systems are breaking down. They can't coordinate their attack." Chen didn't waste the advantage. "All ships, execute battle plan Thermopylae. Conventional forces, target their engines and weapons systems. Guardian vessels, concentrate on their flagship." What followed wasn't just a battle. It was a revelation. With their technological advantage neutralized, the Xeraxians found themselves facing an enemy they had dismissed as primitive, but who now fought with devastating efficiency. The Guardian vessels, fully awakened to their purpose, moved with fluid grace between enemy ships, their weapons striking with surgical precision. Within 2 hours, the Xeraxian fleet was in ruins, half their ships destroyed, the others disabled or retreating. Their once proud formation scattered across the Martian orbit. On the Thermopyla's bridge, Chen received the transmission he had been waiting for. "This is the vessel Commander Zerkthal." The Xeraxian leader's voice had lost its arrogance. "We request terms." Chen exchanged glances with Wei before responding. "Return to the edge of our system immediately. A diplomatic vessel will meet you there in 7 days. We will discuss your intrusion into our space and the wider galactic situation then." After the Xeraxian retreat was confirmed, Chen allowed himself to sink into his command chair, the weight of the past days finally settling on his shoulders. Dr. Wei approached, his face showing equal parts exhaustion and exhilaration. "Admiral, the archivist message contained one more section we've only just decoded," Wei said quietly. "It explains why the Guardians chose humanity." Chen looked up. "I've been wondering that myself." Wei activated his tablet, displaying ancient symbols alongside their translation. The progenitors who built these ships were facing extinction from a threat they couldn't defeat. They seeded compatible technology throughout the galaxy, designed to find species with specific traits: adaptability, determination, and most importantly, balance between aggression and compassion. He scrolled to the final passage. The message ends with this: "The inheritors must be capable of both fierce defense and merciful judgment. For the enemy that hunts us hunts all life that would evolve toward enlightenment. The Guardians will sleep until they find those worthy of the burden we could no longer bear." Chen stared at the ancient words, understanding their weight. "So we weren't chosen randomly. These ships were waiting for us specifically." "Not just us," Wei corrected. "Any species that demonstrated the right qualities. But yes, they recognized something in humanity that made them awaken, something the Xeraxians apparently lack." In the days that followed, as repairs began and the dead were honored, humanity struggled to come to terms with its new reality. They were not alone in the universe, and now they had been thrust onto a galactic stage they hadn't known existed, inheritors of both advanced technology and ancient responsibilities. 1 month after the Battle of Mars, a diplomatic conference convened at the edge of the solar system. Representatives from Earth met not only with the Chesson Xeraxians, but also with emissaries from 7 other spacefaring civilizations who had detected the activation of the Guardian fleet. Commodore Reyes, now representing Earth alongside Admiral Chen, found herself facing an assembly of beings diverse beyond imagination, some resembling Earth life, others utterly alien in form and thought. Yet all regarded humanity with a mixture of curiosity and caution. "You must understand," explained the representative of the Mern Consensus, a collective of avian intelligences, "the awakening of Guardian technology shifts the balance of power in this sector. Many feared the Ziraxians would find and claim it, tilting galactic politics toward militarization and conquest. Instead, it chose an unknown species from an uncontacted world, added the Thulian observer, its crystalline form refracting light in complex patterns. This is unprecedented. Chen listened to their concerns with diplomatic patience, but when he spoke, his voice carried the authority of one who had proven himself in battle. Earth didn't ask for this role, but we accept the responsibility it brings. We seek neither conquest nor isolation but cooperation. However, he added, his tone hardening slightly, we will defend our sovereignty and our people, as we have demonstrated. The conference established the framework for Earth's entry into galactic affairs, trade agreements, technological exchanges, and defensive pacts. The Ziraxians, their expansionist ambitions checked, reluctantly accepted terms that restricted their military movements near Earth space. As the conference concluded, Dr. Wei found himself standing beside a representative of the Archivist Collective, the very beings who had sent the warning that saved humanity. The Archivist, a being of shifting luminescence contained within an environmental suit, turned its sensory apparatus toward Wei. You decoded our message well, human scholar. It communicated directly to Wei's tablet. Few species manage it so quickly. Wei bowed slightly. We had strong motivation. Thank you for the warning. We merely preserve knowledge and observe its effects, the Archivist responded. But I confess curiosity. Now that humanity knows the burdens of guardianship, how will you proceed? Many species would use such power to dominate. Wei considered the question, watching as Admiral Chen and Commodore Rice conferred with representatives from 3 different species, their expressions serious but open. We're still learning who we are as a species, he finally answered. But I believe we'll use this responsibility to build rather than destroy. It's in our nature to explore, to connect, to understand. The Archivist's lights pulsed in what Wei later learned was appreciation. Then perhaps the Guardians chose wisely after all. Aboard the Thermopylae, returning to Earth after the conference, Admiral Chen stood at the viewport watching as the blue planet grew larger. The ship hummed around him, systems now fully integrated with human technology, responding to human thoughts and needs while maintaining their ancient purpose. Admiral, Lieutenant Patil approached, offering a datapad. The final casualty reports and repair estimates. Chen accepted it with a nod. Thank you, Lieutenant. Your insight helped save a lot of lives. Just doing my job, sir, Patil replied. After a moment's hesitation, he added, do you think they'll come back? The Ziraxians. Chen considered the question. Not soon, but eventually, yes. There are forces at work in this galaxy older and more dangerous than we yet understand. This was just our introduction. He turned from the viewport to face the young officer. But we'll be ready. Humanity hasn't survived this long by backing down from challenges. As Earth grew larger in the view, its continents and oceans coming into focus, Chen felt a profound mixture of pride and humility. In the span of a month, humanity had faced extinction and emerged not just survivors, but inheritors of an ancient legacy. They had proven themselves worthy of technologies beyond their understanding and responsibilities beyond their experience. The Thermopylae settled into Earth orbit, joining the remaining Guardian vessels and the conventional fleet in a protective formation that would soon become familiar to Earth's citizens, a reminder of both the threats and possibilities that awaited them among the stars. On the planet below, people looked up at night and saw not just stars but potential, new worlds to explore, new civilizations to meet, new challenges to overcome. The signal that had awakened humanity's hidden guardians had also awakened humanity itself to its place in a vast and ancient community of worlds. And somewhere in the darkness beyond the solar system, other signals waited to be discovered. More warnings, more mysteries, more tests of whether humanity truly deserved the mantle of inheritors. Admiral Chen, standing watch over the homeworld he had defended, was certain of only one thing. Whatever came next, Earth would face it standing tall.